it's been so long since we've been able to talk. Oh my god. What do you mean I just called you 2 days ago? It's fine. Don't worry about it. As always, we're gonna break character for the intro of my video. My name is Adrienne. My goal is to provide a YouTube commentary channel that feels more like a casual FaceTime rather than a, oh my god, listen, intense kind of fact, whatever. Not that I don't enjoy those videos, I absolutely do. But sometimes it's fun to have a nice casual break. Also, most of this is gonna be yapping. I doubt I'll put any TikToks or media examples because my laptop likes to threaten to burn down the entire house when I do that. Also, I'm gonna do Diamond Dart while I talk because my ADHD will not let me do anything else, alright? So my goal in this video is not to spread hate. If I say anything rude, it's not intending to be rude. I'm just trying to share my opinion and let's go to the video. I absolutely need to talk about this whole thing that's been going on for so long in TikTok and social media and whatever. All the fat acceptance, obesity is okay, kind of all the people who are like, love your body. I feel like we've lost the plot. I feel like social media has lost the plot. I feel like there are so polar opposites on TikTok. It's either you absolutely have to be skinny, you have to be skinny, you have to weigh so this X amount of weight like that, otherwise you're fat, otherwise you're ugly, and that's toxic. But then on the other side, you have, it's okay to be whatever weight you want. You don't need to change at all. And then that also, to a point, can be toxic. Why can't people on like social media understand? It doesn't have to be polar opposites. Because there comes a point where being overweight is bad. That's why it's called overweight, because it's like a health issue. I feel like we've kind of confused a lot of things. People are like, everyone's body presents differently. Yes, and then this is where I'm coming from. If you are a 5'4" woman with a BMI of 20, and you're standing next to another 5'4" woman with a BMI of 20, your bodies are going to look different. Duh. That's where weight placement and body type comes in. Two people who are the same weight are not automatically going to look identical, and that should be acceptance. Just because someone's weight distribution is different than yours, or someone's at a healthy weight, even if someone weighs 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 15 pounds more than you, as long as they're still in the healthy weight range, that's where we need to be focusing on the acceptance, you know? And it drives me so crazy when people are like, you should accept overweight people, but they're actively harming themselves. Like, I don't understand. For me, I don't tell people to lose weight because I don't want to spark an eating disorder or something, but if I were to tell someone to lose weight, I guarantee you it would be out of concern. It would be like, hey, you're at a weight that's giving you health risks. I feel like if I saw someone, I'm 120 pounds. I'm 17, born female. So if I met another 17-year-old 5'4" person born female and they were 130 pounds, I wouldn't judge them because they're still a healthy weight. I wouldn't mention it. If they were 120 pounds but their stomach was a little bigger because of weight like placement, I wouldn't judge them or tell them to lose weight because that's dumb, because they're healthy. You never want to tell someone who's a healthy weight, even if it's on the upper end, to lose weight unless they want to. When they become overweight, that's when you might mention something about, hey, maybe you could have a lifestyle change because this is endangering you. Like, it's an actual health risk. It's not just an aesthetics thing. I think, okay, I'm slowly like gathering my thoughts as I'm talking. Body positivity should focus on, as long as someone is healthy, that includes weight, they should accept their body, because as long as you're healthy, you can't really control what your body looks like. Someone who genetically their weight placement emphasizes on their stomach or something, that's just how they're gonna look. Body positivity should focus on things people genuinely can't control, they can't change, and it's good, and it's beautiful. And I'm not saying people who are an unhealthy weight aren't beautiful, but I think there's a side to it where it's like toxic positivity, where it goes from you're beautiful to you're beautiful and you don't need to change a thing. I think a lot of overweight, I'm never gonna say fat because I feel like that word is so overused and is used to describe people that are a healthy weight too, but I'm gonna use the word overweight because that is more of like a medical, if you're overweight, you're over this adjusted weight. If you're obese, you're obese. Like, that's kind of like the thing. So I'm going to use the term overweight, but I think there's a difference between saying, oh, this overweight person is beautiful, and oh, this overweight person is gorgeous and doesn't need to lose a pound. Because medically, like, for their safety, yes, you can live a fairly long, as long as you're not morbidly obese, like, you could probably live an okay life a little overweight, but it's not going to be your best life. It's not going to, because it's a health issue. I'm not talking about societal overweight. That's not what I'm talking about. You understand, right? Like, social media has messed up. Oh, girl, it annoys me so much. Social media really gets on my nerves sometimes. Now there's such a gap. There's such a gap between TikTok and YouTube's and Insta's, like what they think is overweight versus medically what's overweight. And I wish we would focus more on medical weight, because that's where it's important. There are different ways to love yourself, but if you're obese, loving yourself should be losing weight, even if it's just to the point or where you're healthy. If a doctor says you're at a healthy weight, then you don't need to change a thing. If a doctor says you're at a healthy weight, that's when people need to be like, okay, yes, I'm gonna accept myself because I'm healthy. But if your doctor is saying lose weight, that's not, it's not fat phobic, it's medical. I think people realize. But I also feel like social media has made people overcorrect so much, because you'll see these people on social media be like, oh, you're fat even if you're just on maybe the upper end of healthy. Or, oh, you're fat even if you're weigh the same amount as them, it's just displacement. And a lot of times they act like underweight is healthy. Being a healthy weight is overweight, and then being overweight is morbidly obese. And that's just such an incorrect scale, and I feel like it's messing everyone up. If you are healthy, that's when you need to be body positive. It breaks my heart to see someone who is at a healthy weight. It breaks my heart to see them be like, I need to lose weight to be healthy, because you're already healthy. I wish people who were unhealthy and had higher risks because of their weight lose weight so that they can be healthy and so that they can be happier. And a lot of people will be like, well, I'm happy at this weight. But I've seen a lot of people say that, and then quite a few of them go on to lose weight and they're like, never mind, this is actually how I'm happy. I have energy, I can move, all of this. And I think a lot of obese and overweight people think they're at their happiest and think that it's self-care to not listen when people tell them to lose weight. But really, that's self-sabotage. It's not self-care, and it drives me crazy when people act like it is. Self-care would be working until you're healthy. Self-care shouldn't just be mental, it should be physical too. There's so much nuance, and a lot of body positive influencers, they lose all the nuance, because there are good ones. There are ones that say, hey, when you're healthy, and that's amazing. Accept yourself because you're healthy. And those I feel like we need more of. We need more body positive influencers that emphasize health. All right, I'm so sorry, girl. My thoughts are so scattered right now. I don't know why I'm so fired up about this. Stay with me. I'm gonna kind of go topic through topic of like the nuance, because otherwise I really just don't think you're gonna catch my drift, and I'm gonna sound so offensive, and I don't want you to stop being friends with me. The first piece of nuance that I feel like people miss is the difference between hate comments and constructive criticism, because there's such a big difference, and I feel like so many people ignore that fact. There is a difference between, this sentence might be triggering, by the way, there's a difference between saying, you need to stop eating, you fat little bitch, like, you have no self-control, you're awful, you shouldn't love yourself until you're thin, oh my god, you need to lose weight right now, this is ridiculous, you look absolutely ugly, you're unlovable like that, you need to get better, you're ridiculous, you're pathetic, you have no self, etc., etc., etc. That's toxic. That is bad. That's not helpful to anyone. That is a hate comment. Acting like your self-worth is lower because you're overweight, acting like you're unlovable because you're overweight, that is a hate comment. Acting like you're ugly because you're overweight, that is hate. But the people in comments who are like, hey, this actually could cause health issues. Take better care of yourself because you're important, or you're worth caring for. Like, things like that are like, you should lose weight because you're worth it, because it'll make your life better. That's not a hate comment. That's people concerned. And there's such a big difference. I wish people would stop losing that nuance, because it's so important to understand the difference between constructive criticism and hate. And then another branch off of that is, I wish people would stop leaving those hate comments that just call them ugly and worthless and whatever. I wish people would stop, because then they group every criticism under hate, because that's what they're used to, but then it's not hate. Some of it's just trying to be, and I'm not saying everyone does this, by the way, but some people do, and it's really annoying. I'm also going to talk about, this one's kind of weird, but I'm going to talk about people who are scared of losing weight because of the acceptance community. There was one person I was watching who was like, I actually was scared to lose weight because I thought I was going to be ridiculed by the side of TikTok that was all acceptance. They were all, oh, you shouldn't change a thing. And then she was actually, people acted like she was an absolute letdown because she lost weight, because she did something for herself. And I think that's where it really shows, I think that's one of the best examples. It's one of the best examples of where you can see that, like, positivity, it crossed over into toxic positivity. I'm just going to put it like this. I feel like people are going to be mad at me if I say this, but if you are obese, or if your doctor is telling you you are not healthy because you are overweight, or if you're overweight, you should lose weight for medical reasons. Don't do it because a weird person on the internet told you you're ugly. Do it for your health, because you're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth getting in shape, because you're worth having a long and happy life with mobility. And obviously, being in shape does not guarantee you'll be healthy. Obviously, it does help the chances, and I think everyone's worth that. I think everyone should care about themselves. I also hate when people are like, it's not my fault that I'm overweight. It's genetic. It's genetic. It's a genetic. That is an excuse. I'll tell you what is genetic. If they are a healthy or appropriate weight and someone makes fun of their shape and they're like, actually, this was genetic. This is how weight is distributed. Like, genetically, this is my body. This is how I look. I'm at a healthy weight. This is just how it's distributed. That is genetic. Genes is like why that's happening. To me, it's like a cheater who says, oh, I can't help cheating. It's in my blood. There might be some things in your blood that are influencing it. People with parents who are cheaters are actually fairly likely to become cheaters, but that's not an excuse. No one's going to forgive you if you cheated on someone. No one's going to forgive you for cheating because it's in your blood. They're going to break up with you, hopefully, if they have any self-respect. And that's a more severe example. It is hurting people because it's making people feel like it's okay and safe to give up on their bodies, but it's not. It's actively damaging them. And I see so many people hating on it and genuinely being like, you're worthless because you're fat, but that's not true. And you shouldn't lose weight because you think you're worthless. You should lose weight because you know you're worth it. You're worth so much, and you shouldn't neglect the body that you have, especially with so many teenagers like myself on social media. It drives me crazy because there comes a point where you're damaging developed kids' psyches and telling them it's okay to be unhealthy. And there is a flip side to it. And that's the other nuance is I hate that people overcorrected. They're like, oh, well, we shouldn't be fat accepting. We should be... Actually, okay. Girl, I gotta go in one more nuance on the, like, overweight part before I go into the skinny talk. One more thing is I hate it when people insult someone's body, calls them, oh, you're obese, overweight, whatever, as they're actively trying to lose weight. You'll see videos of people working out who are overweight and they realize that they're worth it and they're trying to get better and they're trying to help themselves and love themselves. And then comments will just be insulting their weight, like, you should lose weight. I'm like, girl, what do you think they're trying to do? If you see someone working out, you should not comment, you need to lose more weight. You have a long way to go. You should comment something like, great job, so proud of you, you're worth it, you're doing amazing. It gets to a point where even, I'm going to take a comment someone could leave, someone could leave, hey, I'm worried for your health, you're at a really unhealthy weight and I think you should lose it. On a video of just someone trying to defend that they're obese or trying to say, hey, we should accept it. That's more of an appropriate comment to leave, kind of. But if you're seeing a video of someone actively trying to lose weight and you comment something like that, it could make it worse. Oh, because it could make them feel like it's just all for nothing. And that makes it, I feel like everything's such a case-by-case basis, but one thing that I feel is actually consistent, people should not be encouraging and promoting obesity. And then people take that statement and they think that, but then they run the other way and so glamorize being underweight, and that is such an issue. Because then people who are overweight see that and are like, oh, I need to lose so much weight, I need to be underweight, and then they're a different kind of unhealthy. And that in itself is such an issue, and also the glamorization of being underweight is absolutely ridiculous, obviously. And the reason I haven't been talking about that much in this video is because so many creators, so many people touch on that. It's just a common known thing, unhealthy eating habits and stuff like that on like the skinny side. A lot of people see that and they comment on it, which is good, and people know it. There's not as much of a point in bringing awareness to something everyone's already aware of, but I do think it's unfair to just talk about like the fat acceptance side of social media, because then it just sounds like that's all I have a problem with. No. I have struggled with eating stuff. I know people who have struggled with eating stuff, and that's never okay. Your goal should never be to be underweight. That is an issue. That is a problem, because then you're unhealthy too. If you're underweight, you're also unhealthy. And I think people are like, oh, the skinnier you are, the better. No, being overweight is unhealthy and risky. Being underweight is unhealthy and risky. That's why it's called underweight. And it drives me crazy when people promote the idea that skinnier is better. No, health is better. And people take it so far. They're like, if you weigh more than this, you're unhealthy. No, if you weigh more than what doctors recommend you weigh, then you're unhealthy. Not you random 110-pound lady yapping. Shush. It drives me crazy. One thing I agree with both fat acceptance and like underweight acceptance, there's one thing I agree with both of them, and it's that you should love yourself. But loving yourself shouldn't mean accepting that you're at an unhealthy weight. You can control it, you can help, and you should. You're worth it. And it's so annoying when people act like loving yourself is being underweight or being overweight or being as skinny as you possibly can be or not really caring how much you weigh. Obviously, if you're a healthy weight, when you're not at extra risk because of your weight, that's when you should be like, this is how I look. I accept it. I accept that I am this weight and that weight is good and it's healthy and it's perfect and I don't need to change it. If you are at a healthy weight, then you can just be like, this is what I weigh and I don't have to change a thing because I'm healthy. If you're overweight, you should not be like, I don't have to change a thing because of a number on a scale. No, you do because you're unhealthy. And you're promoting it and glamorizing it, but you're unhealthy. And then you also shouldn't be underweight and saying, I don't need to gain a thing because I'm skinny. No, you do need to gain a thing because you're unhealthy. Because I know a lot of people do actually have an incredibly hard time gaining weight. That is a whole other thing. I feel like people have taken, we shouldn't be promoting skinny, which means we should be promoting overweight and obesity. And I don't think that's true. I think you should love yourself. You should love yourself unconditionally. That is true. You should never hate yourself because of your appearance. But you should love yourself so much that you realize that you're worth putting in the work. People who weigh a healthy amount but just don't fit the society's standards because of either weight distribution or they're more on the upper end of healthy, they don't need to change a thing. They're healthy, that's important. They're gorgeous, obviously. But if you're overweight, you should love yourself. You're gorgeous. You're cool. You're fine, I'm sure. You need, this is going to sound so cruel, but you need to lose weight because you're not healthy and you're worth being healthy. I don't know. I think I've just said the same thing like 20 times in a row, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm sure you have to go. Also, you can't just listen to your friend just yap and yap and yap forever. But yeah, hopefully you get what I'm saying. Okay, I'm going to break character one more time. Body positivity is wonderful when you're talking about how you shouldn't need to be underweight to feel pretty, when you're talking about how, even though you weigh healthy, your body doesn't look the same as societal standards, but that's okay. You should accept how you look and you're beautiful and you don't need to change a thing about your weight. There's a difference between that and being like, hey, I'm obese and that's good. I'm obese, but I don't care. I don't mean harm towards anyone in this video. I'm sure a lot of people, obviously I can only see what people portray on social media, but a lot of these people who say that being fat and overweight or fat and overweight and obese is completely fine, you don't need to change a thing. I'm sure a lot of those people are wonderful. I'm sure they're great, but I do think they took the body positivity movement. I think they took it to an extreme and we need to dial it back because they deserve to be healthy. And I think that's the thing is so many of them promote, hey, you should love yourself, you're beautiful, and you don't need to change a single thing about your weight, but really they should be preaching, hey, you should love yourself, you're beautiful, you deserve to be healthy. And there's a big difference between those two things, and I think that's kind of lost because people do see like people promoting being underweight and they take it to the extreme. They flip it. They take it to the extreme the other way because if being underweight is so bad, then it's like yin yang, right? The other way. But no, there's a happy medium, and I think more people need to promote the happy medium. That's all I have to say. I really hope I didn't offend anyone with this. Again, that's not my intention. I genuinely believe everyone, pretty much everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people, the majority of people on earth deserve love, kindness, acceptance, and I want them to love themselves and give themselves self-care, but I think self-care in their mind is a little different than what it actually is. Anyway, that's my opinions. I'd love to hear y'all's in the comments, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!